Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to make a video about the home buying process because I just bought a home recently in November 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, and I got a lot of questions and comments on my Instagram about like things to do and stuff like that. So I assume that like maybe this information isn't like available to everyone. So you know me, if I did it, I feel like you can do it, and if I have the tools, I'm absolutely going to share them with you. So that's what this video is about. So first things first, I will say the order in things to buy a home. I'll go in that order. So first things first, make sure you have all your stuff together. And when I say all your stuff together, make sure you have access to your tax returns, your pay stubs, your credit is in good shape, and you have all of your records, your rental history. That will make getting your pre-approval a smoother process. And the first step to buying a house is getting a pre-approval. So basically a pre-approval is when you reach out to a mortgage company. Sometimes your potential realtor will do this for you, or they'll be working together and they'll get you a pre-approval. So pre-approval is like basically like, okay, based on your documents, you will be approved for this amount. For me, I didn't want I didn't go in and say, just tell me what you can give me. I knew what I could afford. So I was like, okay, just pre-approve. I just need a pre-approval for, about $325. Now, in hindsight, I wish I would have gone higher than that, but it's not a final thing. If you find a house that's 360, you can go back to your mortgage lender. You can say, hey, I see this house at 360. Can you give me a pre-approval for that? And they'll say, okay, but that means that you'll just have to have this amount down, and they'll do it as long as you are eligible. So after you get a pre-approval, that's your green light to go ahead and start shopping around. Let your realtor know what kind of house you want, what kind of house you can afford, what area you're looking in. I think that is very important when you're looking for a house for you to have these two things in mind. One, that you won't be so close-minded that it's like, if you want a house for $400,000, if the house is listed at $410,000, you won't look at it. Don't be like that, because what I learned is, it might seem like a lot to you right now, right? But two things. One, your income is always going to go up. Like the pay for minimum wage is always going up. The cost of living is always going up. And so will your pay. But your mortgage will always be the same, as long as you don't do no crazy stuff. So it's like, years ago, I wanted to buy a house, but I was like, oh no, I can't afford anything over 180. And at that time, the houses that I wanted were like going for 280. I wish I would have just done it, because looking back, if I would have a house right now that I paid 280 for, I mean, my mortgage would be low, so low that I would still be able to live a good life. But at the time, I didn't make that much money, so I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was too uncomfortable with the price. So what I say to you is to just be okay with going a little bit over. You know what I mean? Because you're going to live in this house. This is going to be your house. You want a house that you're going to like and you're going to want to be in, and maybe one that you don't have to do so much to. Because if you don't have someone that will do the labor for you all the time for free or for cheap, and if you're not creative like me and you really can't do too much by yourself, then you might not like your house. So just be kind of open about your budget, one. But two, also keep in mind that you don't want to go the opposite, and you don't want to be mortgage poor. Like, you don't want to say, oh, I can afford this house for $500,000. I'll just work 6 overtimes a month and I'll just, no, you don't want to be mortgage poor. You don't want to only be able to buy your house, because things are going to break in your house. You're going to need things in your house. You're going to want things in your house, and you're going to need extra money. You're going to need some wiggle room. So kind of just stay in between those two things when you're thinking about like your budget for a home. Okay, so the next thing is you'll like reach out to your realtor and you'll tell your realtor, I like this, I don't like this, I like this area, I don't like this area, here's my pre-approval. And your realtor will send you properties and schedule you to go see properties. Most times you need a realtor to see a property because it's like this, like because I went during COVID, and they would have these lock boxes and you would have to have a realtor log in to go and see the house, whatever. So your realtor will set you up to see the properties. So let me tell you what I did, because I have forgiven my realtor, so I will not even indulge. But I will say that I was most involved in finding my house. And don't be afraid to do that. I was on Redfin every day. I was on Zillow every day. I was on Metro MLS every day. Hey, want to see this? Schedule me to see this. Hey, when is this open house? Because it's going to be my house. Like, you know, you can have a darn good realtor that'll send you all these things. But if you don't have an active realtor, or you have more free time, or you're just super excited, send your realtor them properties and keep a log of it. Like, okay, I like this, I like this, I like this. You know, that's super important. Another very important tip on your home buying process is to not be discouraged. When you put in an offer and they don't accept it, don't be discouraged. That just means that that is not the house for you. You will get what is for you. I say this all the time, and I truly mean it. The very first house that I seen, I loved it. So I thought I loved it, right? We walk in, it's like, it was small. I would say that it was a nice size for me and my son. It was 3 bedrooms. My bedroom was nice. The living room was smaller. There wasn't a big dining room. The kitchen was small. The backyard was kind of small. The fence was blew down, but it was kind of in an area that I was okay with. So it's like, okay. And it was like under my budget a little bit, or right at my budget. And I was like, okay, offer such and such amount. And my realtor was like, okay. And he was all cocky at this time, because this was the first offer we put in. And he was like, I've never put in an offer and not gotten accepted. Well, that's, in hindsight, that's probably because he was fairly new. But neither here nor there. I said to forgive him, so I'm not going there. I'm just saying. So anyways, so we put in the offer and they didn't accept it. And I was so sad. But in hindsight, looking at the house I have now compared to that house, my backyard's way bigger. My kitchen is way bigger. My living room way bigger. The house is way nicer. So it's okay if you don't get the first thing that you bid for. It's okay if you don't get some things. What is best for you will come. Also, another tip that I think is super important is to make a list of what you need versus what you want. I didn't have a lot of needs because it's a very competitive market, especially here in California. Everything just keeps going up and up and up. So I was not a picky girl. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was like, listen, I will live in places that some people think is the hood, but I'm comfortable because I grew up there. I don't mind. I will stay there. I was like, only thing that I really needed was 2 bathrooms. I was like, no, not sharing a bathroom with Marley. Not gonna do it. Okay. But I also wanted a big backyard because I knew that I wanted to entertain. So those were my only like must-haves. I wanted an upgraded kitchen, and I got an upgraded kitchen. I wanted upgraded bathrooms. I did not get those. I didn't get a flipped house completely, but there are some portions in my house that are newer, and I'm happy with them. Like, other than that, I've been able to do little things here or there. Like, I put up a barn door. I don't think I've done anything else. I hung up some pictures. But yeah, so, you know, just make a list of the things that you can live with and your things that you can't live with, because the things that you can live with, you want to make sure you have those. Because if I would have got a cheaper house, or a house that I like more, but it didn't have everything that I wanted, like it only had 1 bathroom, it would have cost me an arm and a leg to build a bathroom. Like, that's not even reasonable. So that was a priority to me. So just make a list of the things that you absolutely need to have, and just kind of be fluid throughout the whole process, you know? Another thing is, to make sure that you are in the right space, and your head is in the right space, and your priorities are in the right space. I can't speak for everyone, because everyone's money situation is not my money situation. My money situation is not everyone's situation. And my single person buying a home life, it isn't the same as everyone else's. So, you know, things are going to differ. But what I will say is just make sure you have your stuff together. Like, I didn't buy things before I bought a house because I knew I wasn't going to buy a brand new house. So I knew I had to have money saved because I knew things might break, or I knew that my down payment might fluctuate. Now, I will say that I did get down payment assistance My credit score wasn't perfect. I think that that's a common misconception, is that you need grade A credit. No, I believe I had a 670, a 680. Another thing, like, your Credit Karma score is not your mortgage score. So make sure that you get your mortgage score checked with your lender before you assume what it is, because it might not be that. But I do think that my lender told me that I needed a 660 to be eligible for the down payment assistance program that she was going to give me. So I did get down payment assistance, closing cost assistance. In the end, I did still have to pay money down to move into my place. I had to pay closing costs, and I had an escrow account. But I was prepared for that because I didn't buy a lot of stuff. I wasn't doing a lot of crazy stuff. And I know that a lot of people, they want to still live how they want to live, and maybe some people with 2 people incomes can do that, but I couldn't, and so right before I bought my house, I moved into an apartment, and it wasn't the nicest apartment. I mean, they redid it on the inside, but on the outside it wasn't, and I had 1 bathroom, so that's how I knew I definitely didn't want to share a bathroom with Marley. And it was like low-key the hood, but again, I was comfortable. But I lived there because I knew that I was going to be able to save enough money to have closing costs, have down payment, and still be able to pay for things if they break, or, whatever I wanted to do around the house, furniture. Keep in mind, you have to probably buy everything new, because a lot of people don't want to move into their new house with their old stuff, or not even all their stuff, or maybe you have more rooms now than you had before. So I made sacrifices. I think that it's really important to know that you're probably going to have some sacrifices that you'll have to make, but in the long run, it will be worth it. Also, don't be afraid to bid over. It's very competitive. I bid $25,000 over my asking, but my house didn't appraise for what I bid. It appraised for $20,000 under. And my lender told me, she was like, "Oh, your house didn't appraise for what you bid." And I was like, "Okay, cool, great." And she was like, "No, that's not a good thing, because the seller can say no, they don't want to sell it to you and sell it to someone else, because the bank won't pay over what the house is appraised for. So if I bid, let's say I bid $350, my house, I literally did bid $350, by the way. My house was listed at $325. I bid $350. It appraised at $330. The owners could have said, "No, we don't want to sell it to you," or 2, you have to come up with $20,000. Well, there was no way I was coming up with $20,000 out of my own pocket to pay for this house. So, or any house, like, I just didn't have it. So I just went back to my mindset. What's for me is for me. If it's for me, it will work out. If it's not for me, then I will move on to the next house. And they were like, "Okay, they're lowering the cost of the house so that you can buy it." So I got my house at $330, only $5,000 over asking, and some people will say that's luck or whatever, but I prayed. I kept God in my business always. The one thing that I would say in preparation for buying my house that I started, is I pay my tithes faithfully every month. Now, some people, they don't believe in that. That's not their thing. Well, that's not what this video is about. But all I will say is, it was not luck that my house appraised for lower and they lowered the price for me. There are lots of people that you will talk to that doesn't happen to. There are lots of people that started looking for a house when I started looking for a house, and they still weren't able to buy a house. So all I'm saying is, you do the math. And sorry, I said that was last, but this is truly last. Lastly, what I will say is, one of the most important things is, don't listen to nobody. Don't get me wrong, you can listen to people, but go with your gut. Go with what you're feeling. A lot of people, my dad was like, "Don't buy right now. That market is going to crash and the houses are going to be so cheap. You should just wait. And I was like, yeah, no. He was like, "Houses are so expensive." Listen, Dad, you bought your house 33 years ago. Okay, they will never be that cheap again. The housing market, I don't predict the housing market to crash like it did in 2009. I'm gonna buy a house, and I'm glad I did, because I bought my house, and every day I get things in the mail. "Oh, your house is now houses around your area are selling for $390. All this. I paid $330. that is a good thing. Listen to yourself, don't listen to people. You know, it's good to be open, but if your heart says go, go. And I will tell you, like somebody told me, it is always a good time to buy property. And your house, if you buy your house at 400,000 and it goes down to 380 next year, as long as you don't plan to sell it next year, that's not an issue. It's going to go back up. So that's all I gotta say. I hope that you guys were able to get something from this. I'm sorry I didn't talk about buying a new house from a new house development, because I didn't buy a house from a new development, and I didn't really look into those because they were a lot above my price range as a single buying person. And so I can't really speak to that. But I do thank you guys for watching, and I hope that my video was helpful to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And guys, look, I looked at this part of the couch the whole time so that it seems like I'm looking at you, because when I be doing my camera like this, I be like looking at other things, like, look, this is where I was looking before, and that's not looking at you. And then if I look like this, oh, this is kind of looking at me. Oh, shit, I could have looked right here. All right, bye, guys.